In a quiet corner of ancient India, nestled deep within a forest that seemed to touch the sky, there was a special school. It was called Gurukul Vanam. This was no ordinary school where children only learned to read and write. Oh no, it was a place of deep secrets and ancient wisdom. The air itself seemed to hum with knowledge. The wind that rustled through the giant banyan trees carried whispers of old stories and powerful mantras. Students came from far and wide, not just to learn about scriptures and mathematics, but to understand the very fabric of the universe. The Gurukul was a small world of its own, hidden away from the hustle and bustle of kingdoms and cities, a sanctuary for those with a true thirst for learning. The head of this magical place was a wise guru named Acharya Devan. He was a kind man with eyes that held the depth of the ocean and a smile that could calm the most restless soul. He taught his students that true knowledge was not just in books, but in every leaf, every drop of water, and every star in the night sky. The students learned Ayurveda, the science of life, understanding how herbs and plants could heal the body and mind. They learned how to read the stars and predict the changing seasons. But the most profound lessons were taught in hushed tones, only to the most trusted disciples. These were the secrets of time and space, the art of traveling to worlds beyond their own. Life at the Gurukul was simple and disciplined. The students woke up before the sun, their first task being to offer prayers to the morning light. They would then practice yoga and meditation under the vast open sky, feeling the energy of the earth beneath them. Their days were filled with lessons, chores, and service. They learned to cook, clean, and tend to the gardens, for Acharya Devan believed that humility was the first step to greatness. The walls of the Gurukul, made of clay and stone, seemed to have absorbed centuries of this devotion. They had seen generations of students arrive as curious children and leave as wise men and women, carrying the light of knowledge within them. But beneath this peaceful routine lay a profound mystery that every student felt but could not name. There were certain parts of the forest they were told never to enter, and certain chants they were taught without ever being told their true power. They knew they were guardians of something precious, a legacy passed down through countless generations. This sense of shared secrecy bonded them together, creating a family bound not by blood, but by a sacred duty. They understood that the knowledge they were given was a great responsibility, a flame that had to be protected from the winds of greed and ignorance, a timeless secret held within the whispering walls of Gurukul Vanam. At the very heart of the Gurukul, in a courtyard shaded by an ancient mango tree, stood an old well. Its stone walls were covered in moss, and its water was said to be cooler and sweeter than any other. The students used this water for their daily needs, but only Acharya Devan and a few senior disciples knew its true secret. This was no ordinary well. It was a gateway, a connection to something far beyond their understanding. The well was a gift from a wise king who was also a great guru centuries ago. This king had discovered a way to travel between different dimensions, parallel worlds that exist alongside our own, unseen and untouched. He had found a treasure beyond imagination, not of gold or jewels, but of pure knowledge and life-giving energy. To protect this treasure, the king hid it in one of these parallel universes. He knew that in the wrong hands, such power could bring ruin to the world. So, he devised a clever way to guard it. He created a map, but not a map on paper or cloth that could be stolen or destroyed. The map was alive. He infused the water of the well with special properties. Anyone who drank this water regularly would develop a unique fungal infection on their skin. This infection was harmless, but it would grow in a very specific pattern. This pattern, a beautiful and intricate design of swirling lines and dots, was the living map to the hidden treasure. The students of the Gurukul all had this faint silvery pattern on their forearms. They saw it as a mark of their school, a symbol of their belonging. They did not know that they were the walking, breathing guardians of the secret. The map was hidden in plain sight, its true meaning known only to the guru. The fungal infection was a living key, intertwined with their very bodies, passed down from one generation of students to the next. It was a brilliant plan, a secret protected not by high walls or fierce soldiers, but by the simple, unsuspecting lives of the students. The well was the source, and their skin was the canvas for this divine secret. This knowledge was the Gurukul's most protected legacy. Acharya Devan would often sit by the well, looking into its dark, still water as if listening to the echoes of the past. He knew the responsibility that rested on his shoulders. He had to prepare his students, not just with knowledge of Ayurveda and scriptures, but with the strength of character to one day understand and protect this secret. The well was a constant reminder of their sacred duty. It was a symbol of the deep connection between the mystical and the biological, where a simple fungus held the key to unlocking the doors to another universe, all thanks to the wisdom of a king who saw beyond the veil of his own time. For the secrets of the Gurukul to be fully unlocked, ancient wisdom needed a modern hand. This hand belonged to a brilliant scientist named Dr. Amara Okoro, who lived thousands of miles away in Nigeria. Dr. Amara was a visionary, a woman who believed that science was not so different from magic. She had spent her life studying quantum physics and had a wild, ambitious dream to build a machine that could travel between dimensions. She worked tirelessly in her laboratory, a place filled with humming computers, glowing screens, and complex wires. She was on the verge of a breakthrough, but was missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. She needed a way to stabilize the gateway between worlds. One day, while researching ancient texts online, she came across a faded manuscript that described a Gurukul in India and a special well. The text spoke of a living map and a stable energy source. Intrigued, Dr. Amara felt a pull she could not explain. She contacted the Gurukul, sending a message across the world. Acharya Devan, wise and open-minded, saw this as a sign from the universe. He understood that the time had come to bridge the gap between the old and the new. He invited Dr. Amara to collaborate, believing that her science and their wisdom could achieve what neither could do alone. The collaboration was a beautiful meeting of two different worlds. The students of the Gurukul, led by two of the brightest, Arjun and Rishi, began sharing their knowledge with Dr. Amara through video calls. They described the properties of the well water and the unique fungal patterns on their skin. Dr. Amara was astonished. She realized that the fungus was not just a map, it was an organic stabilizer. It emitted a specific biofrequency that could anchor her machine's portal. The ancient mystical well water held the scientific key she had been searching for. The students, in turn, were amazed by her inventions. Working together, they perfected the plan. Dr. Amara finished building her dimension traveling machine, a sleek pod of polished metal and glowing lights. She also designed a special coat, woven with microcircuitry that could be powered by the fungus. This coat would protect the traveler from the volatile energies between dimensions. The students sent samples of the well water and the fungus to her lab in Nigeria. Science and spirituality were no longer separate. They were two languages telling the same story, two paths leading to the same truth. An ancient Indian Gurukul and a modern Nigerian laboratory had joined hands to guard a timeless legacy. But where there is great light, there is often a great shadow. The Gurukul's secret knowledge had not gone entirely unnoticed. In the darkest corners of the forest lived a clan of Rakshasas, cruel and cunning demons who craved power. Their leader, a fearsome creature named Vritra, had heard whispers of the Gurukul's treasure. He did not understand its true nature, but he desired its power for himself. He watched the Gurukul from the shadows, his eyes glowing with greed. Vritra knew that the key to this treasure was somehow connected to the students and the Guru's beautiful daughter, Princess Anya. Anya was the heart of the Gurukul. She was as wise as she was graceful, trained in the healing arts of Ayurveda, and loved by all. One evening, as the sun was setting and painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, the Rakshasas attacked. They swarmed the peaceful Gurukul with a terrifying roar, their dark forms moving like shadows through the trees. Their goal was clear. They ignored the other students and went straight for Anya. They believed that as the daughter of the Guru, she held the ultimate secret to the treasure. In the chaos and fear, they captured the princess and vanished back into the dark forest. The kidnapping of Anya plunged the Gurukul into sorrow and despair. The once peaceful sanctuary was now filled with fear and anger. Acharya Devan was heartbroken, but he knew he had to be strong for his students. He gathered them together, his voice steady despite the pain in his eyes. He told them that this was their greatest test. It was a test of their courage, their unity, and their faith in the knowledge they had been given. The shadow of the Rakshasas was long and terrifying, but he reminded them that even the darkest night must end with the coming of the dawn. The students, filled with a new sense of purpose, vowed to rescue their beloved princess. The two senior students, Arjun and Rishi, felt this duty most strongly. They had grown up with Anya, and both cared for her deeply. The threat was no longer a distant legend. It was real and had struck at the very heart of their home. The kidnapping forced their hand. They knew they could no longer wait. The time had come to use the secret knowledge they had been taught, to journey into the unknown and to face the darkness head-on to bring Anya back to safety. Princess Anya was not just the guru's daughter. She was a kind and intelligent young woman who had captured the hearts of many, especially two of the Gurukul's finest students, Arjun and Rishi. Arjun was brave and strong, a master of physical combat and a natural leader. He was always the first to face a challenge, his spirit as bright and fiery as the sun. Rishi, on the other hand, was quiet and thoughtful, a prodigy in Ayurveda and the ancient scriptures. His strength was in his mind and his deep understanding of the Gurukul's most complex secrets. Both were dear friends, but both loved Anya in their own way. Anya respected Arjun for his courage, but her heart truly belonged to Rishi. She saw in him a gentle soul, a quiet wisdom that mirrored her own. They often spent hours in the herb garden, discussing the healing properties of plants or reading ancient poetry. Their love was a silent understanding, a bond of minds and spirits that needed no grand declaration. Rishi knew he loved Anya more than life itself, and he had made a silent promise to himself that he would always protect her, no matter the cost. This unspoken love triangle was a gentle, quiet rhythm in the life of the Gurukul. The kidnapping shattered this peace. When Anya was taken, Arjun's first instinct was to charge into the forest with his sword. He was ready to fight the entire Rakshasa clan alone. But Rishi, though equally devastated, knew that brute force would not be enough. He understood that they needed a plan, one that combined Arjun's strength with his own knowledge. He calmed his friend, reminding him that their greatest weapon was the wisdom they had learned within the Gurukul's walls. The two friends, united by their shared love for Anya, agreed to work together. This crisis brought their feelings to the forefront. Before they set out on their dangerous mission, Rishi spoke to Anya in a vision he projected through deep meditation, a skill taught only to the most advanced students. He found her trapped in the Rakshasa's dark cave. He could not free her yet, but he could give her hope. "I will find you, Anya," he promised, his voice a calm anchor in her sea of fear. "I love you, and I will bring you back, even if it takes my last breath." In that moment, Anya knew the depth of his love, and it gave her the strength to endure her captivity. Rishi's promise was not just a declaration of love, it was a sacred vow that would shape their destiny. With Anya's life in danger, the plan had to be put into motion immediately. Arjun and Rishi knew they could not fight the Rakshasas in their own dark territory. Their only hope was to retrieve the treasure from the parallel universe and use its power to save her. So they prepared for the journey of a lifetime. The living map on Rishi's forearm began to glow with a faint silvery light, indicating that the dimensional alignment was right. It was time. They contacted Dr. Amara in Nigeria, who had her dimension-traveling machine ready. The bridge between worlds was about to be opened. Dr. Amara activated her machine. In the center of her lab, a shimmering portal of swirling colors appeared. At the same time, in the Gurukul's courtyard, the water in the ancient well began to spin, creating a vortex of light that mirrored the one in Nigeria. The connection was made. Dr. Amara sent the protective coat she had designed through the portal. It materialized right beside the well, a marvel of science appearing in a place of ancient mysticism. Arjun was chosen to wear the coat and make the journey, as his physical strength would be needed to face the unknown dangers of the other dimension. Arjun put on the scientifically advanced coat, its fabric humming with a low energy. Rishi placed his hand on Arjun's shoulder, and the glowing fungal map on his skin pulsed with light. This light transferred to the coat, powering it up and feeding it the destination coordinates. The map was not just a visual guide, it was a navigational system. Arjun took a deep breath, looked at Rishi with a determined nod, and stepped into the swirling vortex of the well. The light enveloped him, and in a flash, he was gone. He had stepped out of his world and into another. The journey was disorienting, a rush of colors, sounds, and sensations that Arjun could not comprehend. He felt as if he were being pulled apart and put back together again. The protective coat, powered by the ancient fungus, held him together, shielding him from the chaotic energy between dimensions. He traveled through a tunnel of light, seeing glimpses of other worlds, other realities flashing past him. Finally, the chaotic journey slowed, and a new world materialized before his eyes. He had arrived in the parallel universe, a land of strange plants, a purple sky, and an eerie silence. The first part of their perilous mission was complete. Arjun found himself in a world that was both beautiful and menacing. The air was thick with the scent of unknown flowers, and the landscape was bathed in the soft glow of two moons hanging in the purple sky. Following the faint direction still pulsing from his coat, he made his way through a forest of crystalline trees. He soon arrived at a clearing where a magnificent temple stood, carved from a single giant gemstone. He knew instinctively that this was where the treasure was hidden. But as he approached, a deep, powerful roar echoed through the clearing. A huge lion with a mane that shimmered like spun gold stepped out from the temple entrance. It was the Guardian. The lion was a formidable beast, its eyes burning with ancient intelligence. Arjun knew he could not defeat such a creature with strength alone. As the lion prepared to charge, a voice echoed in Arjun's mind. It was Rishi, communicating with him across the dimensions through a deep, meditative connection. "Do not fight it, Arjun," Rishi's voice said. "It is not a monster. It is a guardian bound by duty. Show it that you are worthy, that you come not for greed, but for a noble cause." Rishi, back at the Gurukul, began to chant a powerful, soothing mantra, a song of peace and respect that he projected through their connection. Hearing the chant, the lion paused. Its fierce eyes softened with confusion, then with recognition. It sensed the purity of the intention behind the mantra. Arjun, following Rishi's guidance, knelt down and bowed his head, showing the ultimate sign of respect. He did not raise his weapon. The great lion looked at him for a long moment, then turned and walked back into the temple, leaving the path clear. Inside, Arjun found the treasure. It was not gold or jewels, but a single luminous lotus flower floating in a pool of light. It radiated an energy of pure life and healing. The treasure was safe. But back in the Gurukul's world, the Rakshasas were growing impatient. They had sensed the shift in energy and were preparing to harm Anya. Rishi knew they were out of time. To save both Anya and Arjun, he had to make the ultimate sacrifice. He focused all of his life force, all of his energy into one final, powerful act. He poured his own life essence into the well, creating a massive surge of energy that supercharged the portal. This surge pulled Arjun and the lotus back instantly, while also sending a wave of pure destructive light towards the Rakshasas' cave, vanquishing them completely. But this act cost Rishi his life. His body fell lifelessly beside the well, a peaceful smile on his face. He had kept his promise. Arjun reappeared in the Gurukul courtyard just as Rishi drew his last breath. He held the glowing lotus, its light illuminating the tragic scene. Anya, freed by the blast of energy, rushed back to the Gurukul, only to find Rishi lifeless on the ground. Her heart broke into a million pieces. The joy of her rescue was instantly swallowed by the sorrow of her loss. She knelt beside Rishi, tears streaming down her face, her grief echoing the silence that had fallen over the Gurukul. Arjun stood by, his own heart heavy with the loss of his dear friend, who had sacrificed everything for them. The Gurukul had won, but the victory felt hollow. Acharya Devan, his eyes filled with both sorrow and profound wisdom, approached them. He gently took the luminous lotus from Arjun's hands. His sacrifice was not an end, but a transformation, the Guru said softly. The treasure of the wise king is not just an object of power, it is the gift of life itself. He explained that the lotus held the power of rebirth, a power that could only be unlocked by an act of pure selfless love. Rishi's sacrifice had been that act. It had fulfilled the ancient prophecy tied to the treasure. With great reverence, Acharya Devan placed the glowing lotus on Rishi's chest. The flower pulsed with a brilliant light, its petals unfolding to envelop Rishi's body. The light grew brighter and brighter, until it was almost blinding. When it finally subsided, everyone stared in disbelief. Rishi's body was gone. In his place, lying on the ground, was a newborn baby, sleeping peacefully. A faint, silvery pattern, the same as the living map, was already visible on the baby's tiny forearm. It was Rishi, reborn. He had been given a new life, a chance to live again. Anya carefully lifted the baby into her arms. Looking at his peaceful face, she felt not sorrow, but a deep, overwhelming love. It was a different kind of love now. Not the romantic love she had for the young man, but the protective, eternal love she would have for this child. She knew she would raise him, teach him, and tell him the story of the brave hero he once was. Rishi had kept his promise to save her, and in return, the universe had given him back to her. His love had transcended death itself, creating a new beginning from a tragic end. The events that unfolded left a permanent mark on Gurukul Vanam. The story of the Rakshasas, the journey to another dimension, and Rishi's incredible sacrifice and rebirth became a new legend, whispered alongside the ancient tales. It was a powerful lesson for all the students, a living example of the principles Acharya Devan had always taught them. They learned that true courage was not just about physical strength, but about wisdom and sacrifice. They saw firsthand that the greatest power in the universe was not hidden in a parallel dimension, but in the depths of the human heart. The collaboration with Dr. Amara in Nigeria continued, strengthening the bond between ancient wisdom and modern science. The portal, now stabilized and understood, was kept as a sacred trust, a bridge between worlds to be used only for the purpose of gaining knowledge and preserving peace. Dr. Amara's technology and the Gurukul's mystical knowledge created a new path of learning, one that honored the past while embracing the future. The students began learning quantum physics alongside their Vedic chants, understanding that both were simply different ways of describing the same magical universe. Anya raised the reborn Rishi as her own son, naming him Arav, meaning peaceful. Arjun, his heart healed from the sorrow, became the boy's protector and teacher, a loyal uncle and friend. He trained Arav in the physical arts, while Anya taught him the healing wisdom of Ayurveda and the stories of his past life. The love that had once been a triangle among three friends was transformed into a strong, supportive family, bound by a shared history and a deep, enduring affection. The legacy of love had found a new, beautiful form. And so, the timeless secrets of the Gurukul lived on, richer and deeper than before. The unbroken thread of knowledge passed down through generations was now interwoven with a new thread of eternal love. The well continued to provide its special water, the living map continued to appear on the skin of new students, and the story of Rishi, Arjun and Anya served as a guiding light. It was a reminder that even when faced with the darkest of shadows, the combined forces of wisdom, science, and a love that conquers even death can protect a legacy that spans across centuries and dimensions forever and ever.